Okay, so when I first set off on my gardening journey, I thought I had a good understanding of what the costs of running the business would be, or at least a rough understanding. But looking back, I think until I did that first year of accounts, I was still a little bit naive, still had a bit to learn, and it's my hope that this video will help people who are in their first year to try to understand what your costs are and maybe how that should reflect in your hourly rate. Okay, so let's make some assumptions here. Let's try build a case for calculating our worst case income for the year. So the old wisdom in gardening, agree or disagree, the old wisdom in gardening is that you would have 6 billable hours per day in the worst case. 6 billable hours per day. Now why 6? Well, in your first year in particular, you're going to have a lot of travel between jobs. That's normally the way it works in the first year while you're still trying to attract customers. You haven't got that perfect round yet. You're going to have quite a bit of travel. Secondly, you're going to have days like today where you get rained off. And it may even be the case that you can't reschedule and you have to cancel jobs. So over the course of the year, if you're thinking worst case, you should be working on around 6 billable hours per day. Now, how many weeks can we work per year? Again, the old wisdom is 30 weeks per year. Okay, so we've got 30 weeks per year that we're going to be busy. Outside of that, 30 weeks we're looking for our winter work, really. Okay, so we've got 6 billable hours per day and 30 weeks per year that we can work. So let's say, hypothetically now, we're working on £15 per hour. We're charging £15 per hour. Well, at 6 billable hours per day, that's £90 per day. I'm working 5-day week, that's £450 per week. And 30 weeks per year, that's £13,500 per year. If you charge £15 per hour, then before you went to work, you earn £13,500 per year. Now just take a step back and absorb that for a minute. If you're charging £15 per hour, you're not even earning the minimum wage. And I think a lot of people don't get that. And you see quite a mad scramble for winter work with people who've not been charging correctly, because when they come to November, the first time they do the books, first time they see the real cost of running the business, what they've been spending, I think it can be a bit scary. They realise they need to get the money in very, very quickly. And there's a mad scramble for winter work, which in your first year, as I say, is not reliable. You're still building up those contacts. You're still trying to get known in the local area. It's not something you can bank on. Okay, it may well be the case that you find no winter work at all, and you need to plan that you aren't going to find any winter work at all. Treat it as a bonus. So think about that £13,500 though. You've also not took any costs off that yet. Now, for me, driving from property to property last year in the van, I realised my van's a bigger vehicle, but the diesel cost alone was about £2,500. So take off your diesel, you're down to £11,000. £11,000 before you take off your other costs. If you're doing it properly, you've got to take off your liability insurance from that. You'll need to take off the cost of buying a waste carrier's licence in your first year. You're going to need to take off the cost for your van insurance. You're going to need to take off the cost for any tools you've bought or tools that are broken. You need to take off the cost for 2-stroke oil, 4-stroke oil, petrol to run your mowers and your 2-stroke equipment, chainsaw oil, strimmer line. By the time you take everything off, there's not a lot left. But there's also one cost that gets everyone, I think, in the first year and they don't expect, and that's voluntary NI. In your first year, you're going to want to pay voluntary NI. All right, every year you're going to want to pay voluntary NI. There's reasons for that. Once you get into business, I'll let you find out for yourself. But voluntary NI, you'll want to pay. Now, that's not based on your profit or loss. It's based on the number of weeks you operate. So you're going to be paying that whether you make money or not. Okay. So here's the message for today. Charge your worth. All right, charge your worth. A lot of people in the first year, what they do is they get their rates rock bottom, and the idea they've got in their heads is, I'm going to attract as many customers as I can to myself with these low rates, and then at some point in the future I'll raise my rates. But it doesn't work like that. That's not reality. Reality is you've trained those customers over the course of a year to expect a certain level of service for £15 an hour. When you come to them at a future point in the future and then say to them, well, I'm going to be giving you exactly the same now and I want more money for it, what do you think they're going to do? You lose a lot of them. They'll be off to find the next guy who's going to charge them £15 an hour, because that's what you've taught them the going rate was for what you were doing. So unfortunately, it's the case that you either charge your worth now or you never will. All right? And that's the take home from this video. Charge your worth. There are not many gardeners about. The work is very hard. Charge what you're worth.